Hello, everybody, and welcome to an honestly somewhat a little bit impromptu extra Overwatch stream here this weekend for CECC East. I am Subtilence, joined by Twin Salty, and we're going to be jumping into a semi-final, and that is why we're doing this little sudden, random, rapid off-stream, extra stream broadcast, because we wanted to cover at least one semi-final, and now we have the opportunity to do so. Jesse, how you feeling today, brother?
Feeling good, and we got 4 teams left. Only one, though, can claim that ticket to CECC 2024, and it very well could be one of these 2 teams we're about to cast. Fisher and UDEL, obviously 2 teams you and I both know extremely well. And the rosters, now that they've officially come in, Fisher is not holding back whatsoever. They got the full force coming out.
Yeah, Fisher brought the top dogs of the program here today, at least for the semifinal. I think they can identify that Delaware is a difficult team. I think Fisher's still going to be confident at the end of the day that they could win, but all things considered, they know that Delaware is going to be a team to give them a run for their money, so they want to try and make sure that doesn't happen as quickly as possible. Delaware, though, a team coming in this weekend with a lot to prove, a team that we have been very critical of. They've got players off-rolling. They've got players playing in new seasons. They've got players coming up from the junior varsity team. A lot of shakeup has been coming out from the University of Delaware, and they've made it all the way to a semifinal. But, I mean, Jesse, I'll be honest, if they win this semifinal, they've got to have grands in the bag.
You would think that the momentum is going to be in their favor, but it's obviously a very tall order for Delaware to try and bring it back. But you never know. These teams did meet in the qualifier final, so these teams are very familiar with each other. As we get ready to go here into Gardens, Fisher, they're locking in the pharmacy here. The first time we've actually seen this all weekend on stream, and at least with what Delaware's running, they really only have Carter to help deal with it.
We've already got Delaware Varsity going into the lineup here, getting onto point early, baiting out the defensive block from Avani on the Doomfist. And Avani, a very, very star-studded player, a seasoned player as well in Tier 2 and the collegiate scene. So I will be keeping a close eye on them to see if they can create the necessary space for the team to succeed. And already, that space was created just before it got shut down once more. Ideal Warrior finds Avani. Carter goes down to Love. The spamming through the window is lethal. If you can't see the Mercy, you can't take down the Pharah. And Love taking absolute advantage of that circumstance to find now a double, most likely even a triple kill. Ideal Warrior down. This Lucio Hyper can't stall long enough. While things started strong for Delaware, unfortunately, they get answered out a little too early, and Fisher finds point cap.
Yeah, they just try and burrow into that one little corner of the center of the point, but Fisher know exactly what to do. They're going to try and find all the different angles. You got Love shooting through the window. You got Rocket going all the way around. Avani's being a nuisance, and they're eventually able to get all that damage in, and now Delaware will make a lot of swaps. Only the support line will stay the same, and this is more of a normal look here from the Blue Heads.
Yeah, this is a little more familiar of Delaware Varsity, and I think a Pulse Bomb is going to be in the near future of somebody, and it was the Immortality Field, but Syrup still taken out by Rocket, who is also a very seasoned player, a veteran in the world of competitive Overwatch, and I think that is showing early as they're able to find that elimination onto the map. Neb goes down, first player from Fisher to be eliminated. Rocket not far behind, and the odds of success actually spiking a little bit for Delaware Varsity. They flipped the point underneath the noses of Fisher. They're buying themselves some time.
They at least buy themselves a little bit of time. It will be eventually flipped back to Fisher's favor. 18% there for UDEL, but it is a start, and you can tell they're trying to just make Love uncomfortable. They don't have a for sure answer for this, because you and I talked about this after the stream yesterday. Juno is off-rolling. They're not normally on a hit scan roll, and against the pharmacy, that can be a little rough.
Yeah, Junao is a support player at heart, so being into that Sojourn positioning may just need a little bit longer to get warmed up. Hyper, though, gonna have plenty of time to think about their actions coming back from the spawn room. The boop in from Neb, keeping the team dislodged, opens up the door for Syrup to be taken down by Rocket once more, and Delaware Varsity, unfortunately, finding out which team is the beast of the East, and it continues to be Fisher year after year.
Yeah, there's a reason why Fisher came in as the #1 seed and as the favorites of this tournament. They made it extremely far last year. They're a team that even in the official Blizzard tournament, they got second this year and semester. So, yeah, there's a reason why they're the #1.
Oh, Love able to find a double kill out of the supports once more, and I think Delaware, they've got a couple of ults to work with, but they can't even make it out of their own spawn right now, so this may be a circumstance where they have to look at it as a GG go next. A Blizzard up from Carter, they pin themselves into the corner, and Rocket's still able to find that momentum. Syrup takes down Neb, the over-aggression may not pay off like they wanted it to. Pulse Bomb out of spawn door, and momentum gets Neb right back up, and as a sneaky cap may be happening. Oh, no, there will be a contest. Hyper taken out by Love once more, and Fisher all but guaranteed to walk away with Lijiang Guard in dominant fashion at that.
Yeah, 100-18. And other than the little flip that Delaware had during that second fight, it was all Fisher the entire round. And you gotta wonder if you're Delaware, okay, where do we even start to pivot? As it will be
Yeah.
control center, so maybe the Doomfist, obviously the environmentals will only really be a factor by coast, but there's no reason for them to swap off of it right now unless they're wanting to run a set play, because there was no answer for the Doomfist from Delaware other than, yes, Carter trying to burn him down. It worked once, but once is only going to work so many times, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a rough start here for Fisher, especially because, and for Delaware, I should say. But at least this is the round. If you're going to run Ryan, this is the one you're going to do.
This is it. Yep, this is it. I could not agree more. Maybe Night Market as well, but he's even harder to work there. Control Center is the place Reinhardt can get the most value. And Love, a player that I love to see on this Junkrat. Already 20% to the Rip Tire because nobody turned around fast enough. And Neb was there to keep the healing up and running. Avani finds one, but Neb goes down to Hyper. Neb's over-aggression is going to cost them their life once more, but it hasn't cost Fisher much of anything yet. So Neb not exactly being punished. Love and Junow going to go out head-to-head. Ideal Warrior goes in to create the space. Momentum back here onto Lucio, trying to get the boops away. Syrup is gone. I believe Delaware has no support standing, and Fisher takes pure advantage of that opportunity. That's a brutal fight loss, because Delaware, they started it really strong, but they weren't able to keep up with the damage Fisher brought to the table.
Yeah, just couldn't keep up with it, and even though, yeah, Syrup's at 70% for their ult, it just wasn't enough for the Blue Hens to stay in that fight, but at least some promising signs here for Delaware.
Yeah, I mean, Fisher was running one of the possibly most burst damage heavy comps in the entire game. A Doomfist, a Junkrat, and an Echo. I mean, that is not a team you want to be walking into, because that spam damage, that spammage, if you will take you out of the way much faster than a lot of traditional damage in this game. So the healers, no matter how much they try to heal, I doubt they're able to out-heal the absolute explosive damage coming out from Fisher right now. And Fisher is going to go for the classic choke here, the chokehold on the Delaware varsity, keeping them out of the equation, keeping them away from the point, and just fighting second after second in their favor.
Rocket Dupe goes down. They'll just be taken out of the Dupe momentum. They have to take it out in the process. So an opening here for the Blue Hens.
Carter finds Neb. We've got a Rip Tire out from Love, and it's going to be big enough. Carter and Syrup both go down, and just when Delaware got ready to turn it around, they get sent away out of town by Delaware, by Fisher once more. Beat drop from Hyper, keeps Ideal up and running. Can Delaware flip a sloppy fight on its head? I just don't believe so, especially as Ideal has now gone down to Avani once more.
Yeah, yes, the beat tries to help them there, but there's still just not a help to work with if you're Delaware. They're holding on to this Shatter. It's their only real hope to try and extend this map out just a little bit, because the artillery strike from Carter, yes, you have it, but it's not going to be able to really do a whole lot with the amount of movement Fisher have.
Neb goes for that Sun once more. The captive Sun takes Carter out. A Shatter from Ideal Warrior finds exclusively Love, and they can't even confirm the elimination on that, the way Fisher has so much support up and running. You know, maybe this ended up on a side broadcast for a reason, because it is just the domination we expected from a team like Fisher College.
Yeah, this is what Fisher does best, you know, and this is in a regional, yes, they are the favorites to win, and there's a reason. Well, that's an interesting way to end it, Avani. Maybe a ceremonial jump
Confidence.
Off. Yeah, they're feeling good as Fisher take map 1, 2-0.
Yeah, and we got to talk about Avani in particular. I've highlighted this player and how veteran they may be, how seasoned they may be, and with their play of the game here, it feels like a good time to bring it up once more. You know, this year we saw them come in 7th place or tie for 7th. They lost to Boise State in the Overwatch Collegiate Homecoming. They came in 7th place in Overwatch Contenders 2023 Summer Series. They came in 9th place in Overwatch Collegiate Series 2023 Playoffs. They lose to Maryville. They came in 3rd place in the Collegiate Playoffs in 2022. They lost to Northwood. So it's like they are losing to teams, but guess what? It's the teams that are just as good as Fisher. There is this upper echelon, this indestructible bubble of teams that exist, and Fisher is, as of right now, the only one on the East Coast. So when you put them into a scenario like this one, it's very easy for them to dominate against these other teams, because without a Boise, without a Maryville, without a Northwood, there are possibly no teams to take down a team of this caliber.
Yeah, at least right now, it is very rough for teams in the East to try and at least compete with Fisher, because, like you said, it's not like it's, you know, the Midwest where you have Maryville and Northwood in the same rough region. It's not like the West, which it is the Wild West right now. That region is just ridiculous right now. So it is a little hard for teams to try and match up with Fisher, who I think they said they had 8 teams. Not obviously all, like, fully under their
they have 4 Overwatch teams. I know that much. At least 4.
It's ridiculous. And you know, it's the type of structure that they've built is just insane. You can only, you know, commend it because it's like it takes a lot of time and a lot of resources, but so far it's paying off in spades. And
Yes.
now we'll see what UDEL where they want to go. And
Yeah.
for people who didn't watch yesterday, it's not a traditional map style pick. They can pick whatever map they want and whatever style of map they want. Does not matter.
They can go crazy with it if they really want to. They can pick whatever style or matchup of map that they would choose, and I think Delaware have a lot of options to work with. But something you brought up a moment ago, Jesse, that I would love to circle back to is the existence of Fisher College and the level of success they've been able to find as a collegiate esports program. Because a lot of people are very harsh on Fisher about, oh, why do you have so many teams? How are they all so good? You know, like, oh, Fisher is a real force to be reckoned with. But it goes to show that they've put in the work, they've put in the funding, and it is paying off in dividends. They have one of probably the largest collegiate esports program in the country in terms of general continued success, and also all of these teams being successful, having these teams. It shows that while Fisher is being perhaps a bit unconventional in what they choose to do, that it is working very well for them, and I always admire that program outside of casting them for something just like that. We will jump into a familiar face here. New Queen Street going to be our second map of this matchup today.
Yeah, we'll be going over back to Canada, and you think, you know, we saw the JQ being teased for a little bit from UDEL. You wonder if that's the route they want to go, like, hey, let's just try and force the JQ. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it can at least try and help with the Doomfist if Avani continues to go that route. I did like the cast swap that they eventually did with the magnetic grenade. Yes, it stuns them. They can't, and the Doom can't get out with punch for, you know, that certain amount of time. So I think it was the right call here for Delaware, but instead they'll see Fisher, who is the one that's teasing the JQ, and Delaware is just going to go back to the all reliable. Is the four? Okay.
I'm muted. I'm talking into a muted microphone.
Absolutely
devastating blow for the Sepulence community. I was just left speechless by what we saw from Delaware right now. But I was going to say, part of the reason that I find Avani to be such a threatening tank is because I don't think, oh, I think of Avani and I think of this tank. No, I think of Avani and I think of every tank. And that's the scariest part about him, is that Avani can play genuinely every tank when they're brought to the table, and already they get the knife out, they create a little bit of necessary space, and they force Delaware onto an immediate back foot. Fisher has the space, they've taken over center field here, and even one elimination will tip this right into their favor, but it's Carter from Delaware that goes down. Syrup taken out by Gracie as well, and as the Junker Queen already gets that first blood, Avani storming through, and Fisher trying to give us a speed run in New Queen Street.
Yeah, they're gonna try and break it. I was wondering if you were muted, or I'm like,
yeah, I needed to take a sip of my drink, and then I just forgot. And I'm just a dummy head.
I feel bad in a way for Carter because, like, new to the starting roster this season for Delaware, and it's like, okay, no, you get to play Fisher. You know, you get to play Fisher in your first few months on the team. But, like, good luck with that. It's a little bit of a reality check, but I think so far they've been doing an okay job to not cause too many mistakes. It's just been more Fisher just being Fisher.
Neb has a great high ground flag, and nobody from Delaware is really even turning around to look at him. He's just got a field day fish in a barrel right now, and Fisher are going to be cleaning it up. Oh, that was a great joke. I didn't even mean to make it. Syrup will find the elimination onto Neb, and Delaware Varsity are going to lose players too little too late. I cannot believe how long Neb was able to get away with what he just did. Racked up well over 1,000 points of damage.
Yeah, he was just chilling up there like, yeah, you know, nobody's going to look at me up here. Okay, you know, my team's fine. I trust momentum to keep everybody up. But now they may have a little bit of an issue because the Baptiste is still not here. They did get the forward spawn, but Neb did not get it himself. So it's going to be a little bit more time, but they don't care.
Here we go. Yeah, they don't care. Beat drop. You keep the team up and running. Carter's already been eliminated. Rocket trying to farm a highlight reel here, and with that blade alive, able to find a 2K, maybe all three. Let's see. Syrup 1 HP. Taken away. That's going to be all three. Love gets a virus elim onto Ideal Warrior, and now the success continues for our friends at Fisher College. We are not even 3 minutes into the matchup, and they are, I believe, 50 meters away from finishing this map in fruition.
Yeah, I can respect Delaware, like, hey, let's go to a new map type, try and fall under, you know, a different style of play. But yeah, so far it's not been the starts that the Blue Hens would have wanted, but maybe this Kitsune can change it up.
Kitsune rush from Syrup, wants to create the space necessary, and there is kind of a silver lining, a double-edged sword, if you will, of Delaware losing 90 meters with 8 minutes left. Well, the good news is if they win one fight, they've got 8 minutes to try and answer back. So if they're able to make this happen, that's what I want to keep an eye on. But unfortunately, as all this damage continues to rack out, Ideal Warrior only left standing due to a phenomenal beat drop from Hyper, who did drop a couple of questionable ones yesterday, but that is certainly the best or cleanest one I've seen from them so far. Junao takes momentum out, and now Delaware has just that namesake, a bit of momentum on their side. They've taken back forward spawn, and they're closing the gap slowly but surely against Fisher College. Can they stand strong, or will the tides of Fisher continue to drown Delaware varsity?
That's the question we're all kind of waiting to see, and they at least didn't have to use everything, and that's a great stagger on a Neb as well. So that is the opening here for Delaware to try and get back in any overclock. Maybe not needed, but a finishing touch for the fight.
I'll support it. It's a little wacky for sure, but I think it's good at creating space at the very least, or even finding just one stray pick would have tipped the scales entirely in favor of Delaware. They only popped the one ultimate as well, while Fisher's still sitting at 0. So going into this next combat, we're going to see Carter with this Blizzard online, insulting. I'm assuming that we're going to be seeing an early Blizzard in an attempt to get that forward spawn advantage, because we've got to get through the butt scratch, right? That is one of the hardest spots to defend on this map when that bot stands there and he goes for the butt scratch, but the Blizzard may not be necessary. An overextension from Love. EMP, the closest ultimate, now offline. A 5-4 advantage in favor of Delaware varsity. Forward spawn is already theirs, and the momentum has fully swapped. We might as well have the players swap sides the way Fisher's lost all their momentum.
Yeah, it's been very odd. Delaware just continue to find these late staggers, and now they're actually going to use the Kitsune rush first.
Okay, an early Kitsune is incredibly courageous here, and I really like what we're seeing, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to have the proper payoff. The Blizzard from Carter able to find one elimination, but Nev and Avani have both gone down, two pivotal players on the side of Fisher College. Delaware, they're throwing it all at the wall, praying anything will stick. Rocket's Blade almost silent, but it will take down Ideal Warrior, and that has to be the beginning of the end of this push for Delaware varsity, losing that Sigma, losing that Gravitic Flux, and some beautiful tracking from Love to seal the deal and give Delaware varsity that disadvantaged state they have been stuck with. Suzu from Syrups able to stay standing. Love barely makes it out alive.
But that is the set of fights you needed for Delaware to at least keep you in this. Instead of it being, an 85-meter lead for Fisher, it is in reality a one-fight difference now with how far you push. So it is still very much up in the cards now as we're halfway through.
Now, we did get lost in the sauce. I missed that the butt scratch happened, but they got forward spawn, so it must have already happened. Yep. So if Delaware can return it, it's 20 meters. Like you said, that's a single fight. And already Delaware has the numbers online, but possibly not for long. Hyper holds onto the beat. Ideal will go down. Junao may be joining them back in spawn, but actually Hyper gets hacked out of the way. The virus just not recoverable, and Delaware do lose those numbers once more. Fisher's lead, I assume, gonna grow from here on out.
Yeah, aiming, they should be at least be able to get to 95 meters. They might be able to hit triple digits. And they do have the Gravitic Flux now from Avani to try and press forward. And Hyper, yes, they do have that sound barrier to answer, but Momentum has one of their own if they want to just counter it themselves.
I'm expecting a counter sound barrier here, and Hyper actually goes down to 1 HP for a moment, but still going to hold on to it. Kitsune out momentum, drops an early beat that will be answered by Syrups. Kitsune, Hyper wants to hold on to it, probably till that Flux, and there it is. But Junao gets taken out by Rocket. No Rockets, funnily enough. Haha, name reference. Neb taken down by Carter in the backline, who swapped off the May onto the Tracer, maybe able to find a secondary attempt onto Love, who flanks up to the high ground. The Pulse Bomb is locked and loaded, and I suspect it to go on to Avani here. It's not a stick, it's not an elimination, but Avani will still go down in a crucial moment. Fisher found 7 extra meters, so now they are 27 meters ahead of Delaware varsity. 3 minutes and 40 seconds remain, and with a sloppy fight victory, they're barely going to take forward spawn back, or they're barely going to take center field back.
Rocket is still in the back.
Oh, and he's got Visor.
Yeah, they will have Visor in a moment. This could be a little tricky. You wonder if Junao will see them coming out of spawn. As Love is also back here. The bot will hit mid, so the forward spawn for Fisher is now gone. You wonder how they want to go at this, but yeah, Junao just got spawn camped.
Junao got spawn camped. That is a devastating circumstance to be in, especially as Delaware. They need those numbers. 3 minutes left. They lose the overclock. Okay, they're getting an EMP in what should have already been a one fight, so a possible win condition for Delaware, all things considered. And Love actually already showing us a lot of the new tech from the Sombra, a simple play that people are continuing to bring out. Just throw that little translocator up in the air, hack somebody while you're up there. People tend not to look up in this game particularly often, and new Sombra players trying to take advantage of that. Delaware being forced to regroup. Fisher will probably get danger close to triple digits, if not touching triple digits, and with only 2 minutes and 38 seconds remaining, the door for Delaware is closing more and more.
Yeah, Carter will at least see Rocky here on the flank. we'll have to see if they actually take them out. As windows used by Neb just to try and push the advantage, and yeah, Lamp just like that is already gone.
I like the window, though, because it does try to force Fisher into getting those triple digits. Rocket solo visors Carter, but Junow went in to help and will still also go down. Momentum drops the beat, and this has to be the beginning of the end. Rocket makes it into the back line, completely pinches Delaware. They can't look two ways at one time, and they get obliterated for it. Up into triple digits now, I believe 20-odd meters until the end, and Fisher all but has this in the bag with the Gravitic Flux online, and Delaware, no defensible to try and catch it.
No, unless Hyper can build it up very quickly, which he might be able to, but they're looking for him for a hack right away. Hack though, now he will actually not fall due to a nice little lamp.
A lamp that keeps the team up and running. Avani finds one, Rocket finds another, while Delaware keeps it close. Unfortunately, close only counts in hand, horse, and shoe grenades, and none of that gonna be here in this new Queen Street push. Fisher, they've got the numbers they need, they've got the eliminations, but they have the spawn disadvantage. And Delaware, thanking their lucky stars, they made it back in time.
Yeah, but now you gotta think, okay, you had to use a lot just to stay in this map. All you really have is that sub area that you didn't get to use during these next few fights. The good thing, I guess, though, Fisher had used everything they had to try and finish it off right there. So there is a chance here for Delaware to at least start getting something to go their ways. Yeah, Syrup, nice little shot here onto Neb, and forward spawns will not be there for Neb. So Fisher will have to play extra safe going into this next fight as they try and build up EMP.
Now, that is a pivotal elimination because that's going to get Delaware forward spawn, or at least darn tootin' close to it. So that is going to give them a very large opportunity to recontest this fight. The Virus from Love, caught out by the shield. Junow goes deep into the backline, looking for the elimination, at least trying to pull the focus. Rocket uses Helix of the very same name and does not get an elimination off of it. So several pieces of utility used. Ideal Warriors, though, will go down to Avani. The beat from Hyper frames too late off the ground to keep that tank up and running. And unfortunately, with only 30 seconds left, the rest of Delaware, honestly, they should just die quick. They should try to regroup. They should try to recontest. They should try to get forward spawn if they're able. Syrup's accuracy has been insane. Headshot after headshot, which is 3 times damage on the Kiriko. They took out Rocket, but I just don't know here, Salty. I think this is going to be a Fisher victory, even though Delaware has made it so close.
They've definitely played better this map than they did over on Lijiang.
Infinitely.
At least the map pick in that case has worked, but as Hyper, they just get focused down. And it will they'll survive this time around, and Bot is in their control with Kitsune Rush in hand.
The window comes up, and thinking Kitsune pass, but a 4-man EMP. Never mind. All right, sign it. We are donezo here. That is going to be a 4-man EMP. Every ult under the sun from Fisher. They press the win button, and they win. Honestly, probably going to win with or without it, but those ultimates looking mighty good from Fisher to clean up. And I'll be honest, I think Delaware probably had Fisher sweating a little bit. I think there were several moments where Delaware really began to show up. Syrup in particular, I continue to compliment that player, found pivotal elimination, headshot after headshot. First it was the supports, then it was Rocket on the Soldier, and it was a 5v4 in favor of Delaware several times, but they just couldn't find that consistency, and that was one of my largest notes yesterday. I think Delaware can hang with the best of them if they can find the consistency, and right now, Jesse, that does seem to be their biggest enemy.
Yeah, and again, the consistency is an issue, but it's also like this is a newer team. You know, there's going to be some growing pains. It's just obviously, yes, Ideal Warriors, you know, they've been with this team for a while, as well as Hyper. Juno is in a different role, though. You have 2 new players going in. Even though Serb, like you said, Serb's been balling out offensively. Just try to, you know, find those little headshots with the kunais, trying to even it up, but Fisher just continues to find ways to adjust. And, you know, we talked about it a little bit, the summer rework. You can't play super passive anymore with the Translocator. You have to be aggressive. And so far, Fish has been doing an excellent job of playing Sombra super aggressive and just catching the other team off guard. Yeah,
Sombra has made a full transition in her versatility and in her viability. She used to be a very stealthy character, right? Would, okay, go in, get one pick, and kind of translocate all the way to the other side of the map. But now you've got to stay in the mix. You've got to get lost in the sauce to get value. And Love already very successful at being able to do just that. So as we jump into our third and most likely, I hate to say it, Delaware, final map, hearing the map choice, I'm a little more confident. We're going over to Nepal. So we're cycling all the way back to Control. And I don't know, Jesse.
I'm just feel like super against it, only because
was just really one-sided.
Yeah, Lijiang was. I think they're banking on, hey, can we get Village? Can we get Village, run the Symmetra May, try and bunker down?
Symmetra May Rhine.
Yeah, and obviously the Pharmacy will probably come back out then from Fisher. If they see Village, they're like, okay, we need to lock it right away. But I think there's an opportunity here. And maybe also, you know, Hyper, you know, I've talked about him for ages and ages before. he is a very fun Lucio player to watch. So maybe
Yes.
once they get into Shrine, that's when they can try and turn it around, because he is historically aggressive. And Neb is shown to be as well. So that might just be
Yes.
the battle of the Lucios on that round.
I think, what do I think? I have lots of thoughts. I'm
What
trying to
do
get them
I
all out
think?
before the game starts. I think there is this existence of Fisher College, and historically, and I can say this because Fisher knows I'm not saying it to be mean, they know that it's true. Historically, Control is their worst map type. Like, they lose, if they win in a 3-1 scenario, the one to every game I've cast by them where that happened was always the Control map. So I'm wondering if Delaware is trying to take advantage of that, if they know that Fisher is somewhat inconsistent, one might say, on Control. But I'll say, this Fisher, I've never seen this specific roster of 5. I've seen all 5 of these players, never all on the field at the same time. This don't feel like a Control we're going to lose team. This feels like a very well-oiled, calculated machine, because these are 5 players that can win best of 5 series without calming. Like, they could be jamming out. One time, I looked over and I saw Neb listening to classical music in the middle of a best of 5 series, and I was like, okay. I was like, all right, man, you do you, whatever feels good, and they are just feeling great today. So Fisher, they're not going to make many changes off of New Queen Street, but Delaware going pretty much in the same run as well.
Yeah, Delaware, not much to change at this point. I think they're in the boat of, hey, we just need to run what we're comfortable with, and if we lose, we lose. But, like, this is what we're comfortable with. We just got to stick with it.
Comfortability is key at the end of the day, and as Syrup gets obliterated by Love in the backline, Junao is down. Delaware Varsity have to give up the first fight. Wow, so well done from Love here on the Genji, already halfway to that Dragon Blade, and Fisher College able to win with a total team kill in fight number 1.
Yeah, Love is definitely loving the fact that, you know, Genji is viable right now in this comp, because looking very clean on it so far. And yes, they do lose Avani during that fight, but you got the team kill, like I said, so it's not even going to matter. Avani will be here in plenty of time. And Delaware,
speed boost too.
There's a lot of pressure. I hate saying it on the Juno to try and get an early pick, because again, they are off-rolling.
I
This
agree,
is not
though.
a role they're familiar with, but in this comp, you got to at least put some pressure on the Rocket to try and negate some of that early damage, because it's been a pretty hefty difference.
Oh, Love
there you
goes
go.
down to Carter. First opening is just as we needed from Delaware Varsity, but they've got to find one more. We've been stuck in a pattern of, okay, we find one, then you guys get one. And they tend to lose that 4v4, but now as they've entered a 5v3, Hyper drop the hyper-aggressive beat. Now you've lost Syrup, so they lose that amplification matrix. They might be able to get a Blizzard online, and the beat comes out just too late. Now it gets to be answered by momentum speed. Rampage gonna find, no, zero! The accretion is critical! Ideal Warrior gets the accretion online, takes that Junker Tech Queen out of the equation, and Rocket answers down Junao, who again is off-rolling against Rocket, who very much is not. So things are going to be a bit of a power player here from Fisher College, and Delaware Varsity. Ideal Warrior takes down momentum. Delaware bringing an expectation here that is working really well. They're dumping the ults just like I wanted, but Fisher had plenty of their own, and Ideal shuts down a second ultimate. Ideal Warrior goes down to Avani. Can Delaware Varsity clutch this out? They've spent it all, and it still might not be expensive enough. Wow, they get 40% in the chaos, though. I didn't even catch the flip.
Yeah, they flip it very early on, so at least Delaware, yes, you may not hold full control at this point after the fight as Carter eventually does fall, but you do take the lead for a short moment. Delaware showing signs of life, and what an accretion that was from Ideal Warrior, by the way. That was just perfect timing.
Ideal Warrior popped in that fight. 2 ults was crazy.
That was an insane accretion from Ideal Warrior. It keeps them in it, and now they still have Flux to use during this fight if they choose, and Love.
Oh, let's go, baby!
That is the aggression that Delaware's been starting to really capitalize on.
This is the Delaware. This is the Delaware that we love. This is the aggression that we notoriously want to compliment. Nebs, oh my goodness, Nebs rally deleted by Delaware Varsity, and this is the aggression we've been missing. This is why I've been so harsh on Delaware today, because they've been pulling punches, they've been slowing down, and it's been difficult to see them lose winnable fights because they sat on the ultimates at hand. Now they're not sitting on anything. They're taking down Fisher College one boot at a time. They're 50% here. They've got an overclock. They've got a beat, and they've got a dream. I have not given up on Delaware Varsity, but they needed to be playing like this 2 maps ago.
Yeah, Rocket uses the overclock during that fight as well, and they just died during the very beginning of it. So one of the best ultimates Fisher's had today is out the window. They will only have the beat here going into this fight. Now Juno will start one of their own.
Gets rid of the deflect. Carter keeps Love out of the equation for just a moment. And while Junow's not getting any eliminations, this is huge because it's biding time. There is going to be that matchup in the middle where they're going to take the lead here over 80%. This next fight is almost guaranteed to be the last one. And if they can get rid of Avani before this Rampage, it's almost a guaranteed victory for Delaware Varsity. But Ideal Warrior is the one to get Railgun out of the equation. Neb goes deep into the backline. Love finds Junow. And while it's close, it's going to be a no-cigar scenario for Delaware Varsity once more. They're biding time. They're up to 90 if they can win just one fight with a beat, with nearly a Blizzard, and maybe even a Gravitic Flux. Salty, it's gonna be close, but it's not impossible.
It's gonna be close. Whenever Hyper uses the sound barrier, that is going to be the most important
But Hyper also has to touch, so they're stuck.
They also have to touch, but they do have the sim if they want to TP in, because the Rampage and the Blade
Hyper
is available.
Oh! Ideal Warrior takes down Rocket. Somebody's got to get on the point right now. Avani has already gone down to the University of Delaware. I have been nothing but critical today. I have been nothing but harsh, and this is why they needed push. They needed to learn, and they needed to change to bring this aggression to the table. The aggression finally paying off. They dump the Blizzard. They dump the beat. They dump Fisher in point number 1 of Nepal, and I believe they will emerge victorious. It took 2 maps, but I am truly a believer in the phrase, better late than never. And Delaware Varsity are finally turning those thrusters back on.
And just a little icing on the cake, Ideal Warrior rocked the Genji diving in with Blade and killed him as the timer went down. So that's a nice little pat on the back for Delaware. It's okay, no, we're feeling ourselves now. This is exactly what we wanted from this map pick, and so far it's been working excellently. They're really punishing now Fisher's aggression because they realize, hey, maybe Fisher's getting a little bit too loose for their own good. They're trying to make these, you know, little fancy plays. We've seen a few times, especially Rocket and Love, maybe just get a little bit too close and personal. Neb, even with the rally, they, you know, we talked about, they go on forward during the rally and they just get absolutely deleted.
Yep.
So Delaware are really starting to capitalize on that aggression, and we will not see the Rhine that we thought we would see here from Delaware.
Yeah.
But we still will see the May, so you can really utilize very well on some of these.
Come on, Delaware, run it down. Run it down.
Yeah. There you go.
They need to get up close. They need to get personal because this is the value they want. And I think a lot of people are going to be watching this VOD, Salty. I'm thinking back on some of the comments I've made. Some of these people are going to watch this back and be like, wow, Semifinals hates Delaware. No, I love Delaware. And that's why they're being offered this tough love, because I know they have the capacity to be one of the greatest teams in the entire country. They just need somebody to tell them how to make that magic happen, and they need somebody to push them into new beyonds. I'm not saying I'm that person, but I'd love to be one of them to help this team break that ceiling, break that echelon, and punch with the best of them like Fisher College, who are going to dominate that first fight, let's be honest. But I feel like Delaware, they lose it, they go for a rotation, and this is tough because if you look at the high ground, that's where you find a difficult circumstance. But if you rotate under and through like Delaware is right now, you take the fight 2 points and you get rid of the high ground advantage. If everybody's on the low ground, there's no advantage. Delaware flips the point again. Fisher loves to let this happen because they know winning the fight is more important than keeping the points. And Love, my goodness, love to see this style of play, a technical 4K with the help of Rocket on the Genji. All 5 players going to go down. A team kill for Fisher College, but Delaware punching strong, punching into possibly above their weight, and still able to sneak out 15%.
And like you said, Fisher, they're okay with just giving up that point for a second. Like, all right, let's just reset, make sure we have all of our cooldowns. And Love, all right, 1 pick, 2 pick, let's go in. Like, they know that Love, especially on this round where there's a lot of longer corridors, especially near that point, it is so easy for them to try and get some value from those alternate shots.
Oh, the wall goes up. That may be an elimination onto Rocket. Accretion found as well, but somehow still standing. Syrup drops an early amplification matrix. Neb cancels in with one of their own, and Rocket deep into the back line like a rocket. Takes 4, possibly all 5. Oh, team kill stole. Avani, cringe. Team kill stolen by Avani. 5K, the ace from Rocket is going to guarantee Fisher another probably 20 to 33%.
They'll get them in one fight territory here, and they still have plenty to work with. They still have the flux. They still have the overclock and the beat here. Delaware finally starting to build up some of these ultimates outside of the window, which obviously was used last fight.
Oh, no.
And that could be spicy.
We've got beat, though, which is huge. Hyper can keep them up, but the beat is obliterated right out the gate. Gravitic Flux takes up only 1. Momentum has a beat of their own, so both teams bringing the Gravitic Flux, bringing the beat, and Carter just gets caught out of the equation. Immortality Field gone. Rocket dives into the back line, looking for even 1 more elimination to nearly guarantee Fisher College that advantage and that victory here on stage 2, which would take us to Sanctum, which is my favorite of the 3, so I truly am rooting that we make it to Sanctum, especially because I think that's where Hyper can do some pretty hyper amazing things. But we'll get there when we get there. Juno pops in early overclock, desperate to find even 1 elimination, and now doubles it. Says double it, give it to somebody else. Avani is gone, but they just can't make it to point.
Just with the timing of everything, it would have been really rough. Yeah, I think just with how they died, like, yeah, you just gotta try and send somebody early, and yeah, just nobody can touch in time. As Fisher, that was a clean round there over on Village, and like you said, now going over to Sanctum for our third and final round. This is where the Lucio players are gonna shine because
Yeah.
it is just such a wide open gap, whether you play from bridge or from point, to where
Yep.
the boot potential is real. So definitely a lot of eyes on the Hyper and Momentum to try and be that difference maker.
And I mean, there's something really fascinating about the fact that Fisher kind of turned on the boosters. They lost stage 1, like, actually. They didn't throw, they didn't misplay, they genuinely lost it to Delaware Varsity. I think that was a bit of an awakening for them. They're like, okay, focus up, let's try to win this, because things got a little bit more dangerous than we expected. So now Delaware Varsity find themselves in a possibly winnable scenario to force on map number 4, which would actually be really exciting. I think that'd be really fun to watch. And okay, a really uncomfortable wall onto Love pins them out of the fight for a couple seconds, and now they're gonna get pinned out with a railgun straight to the dome. Love has fallen. Delaware has taken the numbers advantage, but Ideal cannot get healed up. Lucio Bap is not the most healing in a close quarters combat like this, so Ideal will go down to that healing. Rocket traded out for Hyper, and Delaware still, I believe it's a 3v2 advantage in their favor, but unfortunately Fisher has both their tank and their Baptiste still standing, so it is a difficult circumstance to be in.
Yeah, it will be Fisher capping first. And
so close to
like,
winning.
Delaware do everything they need to do right at the beginning. They take bridge control, they force Fisher back. The wall, like you said, was great from Carter. The punish just not there because the heals were. And now Fisher, they just popped window so early.
Oh, here we go!
Delaware that popped it.
Oh, Avani, I don't understand what just happened to Avani. It like kind of looked like he walked off the map, it kind of looked like he got booped, and then it kind of looked like he got hit by the Sigma primary fire, but Ideal Warrior got kill credit for it, so that's kind of a huge moment, a huge ult boost as well. One tank taking out another, and this is the fastest, actually, that Delaware has been able to flip the point underneath Fisher. We saw 28%, I think we saw 61%, and Delaware gets it at 18 this time, so a lead is guaranteed, but as Momentum dives into the backline, removes Ju now, it's one of the DPS, so the arguably two of the least impactful characters to be eliminated. It's not your tank, it's not your support. Okay, but now your tank is gone, and that's where things get a little bit more rough, especially so close to a gravitic flux. Fisher took point cap back, and I think Delaware, as crazy as it sounds, Jesse, how insane would it be to just run it down as fast as possible and then just get out as many ults as you can? Like, just see how many times Fisher will press Q and then go into the next fight and try to win it.
I think it's not a bad idea here from Delaware, especially because, yes, Fisher have legit... within a few moments, you will have every ultimate at their disposal. Delaware are getting close to it, and there you go. There's one. We'll see if there's second one in. Boom.
Oh!
Well,
oh, that was so close. I'm not even sure if that was a Neb jump and he almost missed, or if that was almost a boop. But either way, Fisher, they use only the one. That's the hard part about a team like this, is they're not gonna expend ults unless they really know they have to. Avani solo flexing, though, perhaps a bit of insult to injury. Just taking that tank out of the equation. That bides maybe 12 to 15 more %. And Delaware Varsity gonna be caught out in their spawn. I think... Never mind, I'm going to save that comment until the end of this. But Delaware Varsity, they drop the beat, they throw the Blizzard, they bring out the Flux. Molten Core from Rocket as well, just covering that same space, making it impossible for Delaware to charge through. Whoa! Do now triple kill. Beautiful play, taking 3 players down, and Delaware gonna get to recontest, but we're already in the 80s on the board, so unfortunately, Jesse, they can't lose a fight from here on out.
No, they cannot lose a fight from here on out. But again, a lot of ultimates used, I think almost, yeah, basically everything for Fisher. Delaware had to use a 3 during that fight as well, so they got to play practically perfect for
It's winnable.
3 fights. It's doable at Fisher. They've proved time and time again that they can turn it around. Now, Rocket is swapped over to the Mei to try and counter out the Mei Wilson Carter.
Ju now brings out an early overclock. I'd love to see them look a little bit more at Momentum, but it's Rocket that goes down first. Ant Matrix up from Syrup, so 2 ultimates. The only 2 they had, unfortunately, going to be used, but at the end of the day, better to use them and win the fight than use them and lose them, right? So Avani is going to fall. Love gets accretion, might be an elimination. Neb is there to keep them up, though. Love goes down late. That is an additional maybe 10, 12 seconds online for the Blue Hens, and Delaware Varsity looking likely, Jesse. I mean, nobody's got ults right now. Possibly an overclock answered by a beat or an accretion. Plenty of opportunity for Delaware to actually snake this out and take us to a map 4.
There's definitely the opportunity there. Fisher will have overclock and window here in just a moment. We've seen Love time and time again turn it around. They may need them this time.
2 up, Immo down, everybody's still standing in a Gravitic's Eat from the hand of Sigma Ideal, taking down the Ant Matrix. Junow removed by Love, who has an overclock still standing. Hyper has the beat to answer. Avani is gone. The point flip from Fisher. Hopefully Delaware's paying attention. Can the Blue Hens get back to point? Somebody's already there. They're eons ahead of me. That's why I'm behind the desk and they're in the battlefield. But Hyper drops the beat. Still can't stay alive against Love, who loves to take teams apart just like this. A pivotal dismantling in a pivotal moment to give Fisher a pivotal 3-0 possibility until Delaware gets back. Carter has the Blizzard, gives their life to throw it. Is it going to be viable enough? There's a boop off stage. There's going to be a gravitic flux, a beat from Momentum as well. And while things are close, Syrup also now has fallen off the map. A late Blizzard from Rocket should seal the deal. And I love what we are seeing, but that is going to be the Fisher College difference, Jesse. I've got to say, though, Fisher was sweating. And if that was not obvious to anybody, I don't know what game they were watching. Delaware had this team on their toes on both the second and third map.
I think they at least pushed them around a little bit more than first. I think Fisher were never severely uncomfortable. I think they were always in their own element, even if sometimes they put themselves in a bad position, whether it be like pushing too far, wasting an ult or two here. It's never going to be a perfect game, and I think Fisher, they're going to realize that. Like, yeah, it wasn't our most perfect game, and Delaware took advantage of the mistakes we made. So credit to Delaware, they at least punished when they could, but Fisher is Fisher. They're going to be excellent. We said before that last fight, like, hey, Love has the overclock almost, and the window is there. If there's going to be something to bring it back, that is going to be it. What do you know? Love gets 3 kills, and it just completely turns it around. So Fisher, they lock in a championship spot. They guarantee at least some scholarship money and the potential now for a clinching spot in CECC 24.
And something that I do want to analyze, and mind you, I'm not a coach, I'm not a manager. I played collegiate like 3 years ago, but I'm curious if Delaware would be able to do this, and I wonder if they thought about this before. But Syrup on the DPS has been lethal. Has been getting, has shown incredible accuracy, has shown incredible aim. Junow, one of the best Ana players I've had the opportunity to cast in collegiate. Ana, a very talented character, a very strong character in the current meta of the game right now. Would it be impossible for Delaware to swap Junow and Syrup? Put Junow back in their element, bring Syrup into the DPS line, and just see how it feels. I mean, it's just something I think I'd like to see from Delaware, and maybe they've thought about that already. Maybe I'm just spewing something they've decided not to do. But that is a change that I think could be very beneficial. I offer Delaware a lot of tough love. Their program coordinator and I are very good friends. I've known these players for a long time, so that's why I'm so comfortable being so harsh with them. But I truly believe they are just 1 or 2 changes away from being a top 20 team in the country. And I want to help push them. I want to see them make that because they deserve it. They work hard, they fight hard, and they make teams like Fisher sweat even a little bit. That's something most teams have never been able to do.
Yeah.
The potential is there.
Yeah, the potential is there. So we wish them the best of luck. Obviously, we'll see them probably ECAC and a whole bunch of other action throughout the
They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're going to be around. So Fisher will now await the winner of the University of New Haven and NYU, which is a game you and I were very curious about how that's going to go because New Haven actually beat Delaware yesterday 3-2. NYU, you and I saw them twice yesterday. They looked very good. So whoever wins that game, they will at least have a good amount of momentum on their side going into Fisher, but sometimes you need more than momentum, right? Because they have it, literally.
Because Fisher's already got momentum.
They got their main support. So time will tell on how that will actually go, but I do think this Overwatch final could give us some goods.
Yeah, the Overwatch final will be taking place later today back on the Esports U main channel, where currently Fisher College is versing Harrisburg in Valorant, a school duo as old as time that we, a rivalry, that's the word, as old as collegiate esports, so Harrisburg versus Fisher on Valorant. But this is the only broadcast I believe we have today on the second channel. This was just a favor called in by Jesse and myself so we can get the chance to watch a semifinal, so I'm very glad we got to do so. Thank all of you for watching. We appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you back on Esports U for Valorant and Overwatch Grand Finals. Fisher versus, I don't know, somebody later today. We'll see you then.